Okay, hello and welcome everyone to Enchanted Empath, a podcast for your soul. I'm Charlene Murphy, soul coach, and just a big proponent of our human spiritual brilliance and this dance we're doing in this lifetime, trying to mesh both worlds with grace and ease. But my big kick is reminding you of your inner brilliance, knowing that you are fully capable and completely wired to heal your own body, to manifest anything, and to create a life you love. So that's what I'm all about. Welcome to our soulcast today. Today we're going to focus on manifesting money. And money is such a hot topic, especially in the spiritual world. And I completely invite you to chime in and ask your questions during the course of our time shared together and to get some coaching for yourself while you're here. Might as well, right? So last week we talked about the 5 steps of manifesting and the things to do while you're waiting in that manifestation. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I thought it was a really good soul cast, but I really wanted to get specific and talk about manifesting money because it's such a hot topic. And I think it's one that everybody can relate to. So it's something that we can all relate to. And then because of that, you can apply it and learn and grow from what comes up for you today personally. Because I'm going to hit some sensitive buttons and I know that some stuff will come up for you. But the purpose in all of this is for self-awareness and self-healing, right? So when we know better, we do better. And a lot of us have issues around money. So let's talk about the biggest manifesting block, the big manifesting block for every topic, every issue. And what that is a misalignment in our belief system. It's messy beliefs around the thing that we're wanting to bring into our lives, right? Messy, not clear. And so we have these messy relationships, and I want to really just stick with money for this talk. So we have messy beliefs about money, which creates messy relationships with money. And then as a result of that, we have a messy vibe. And because we live in a universe that is governed by laws, that means that our vibration, our law of attraction is off. So some people will say that the law of attraction doesn't work. And I say, oh, no, it's working 100% of the time, 24/7. It never stops, just like gravity. What is out of whack is us. And we're not in alignment with the thing that we say we want. So let me dig a little deeper here with you with that. And this is why I chose money. And then I'm going to share with you how I finally broke through my money issues, because I had big time money issues growing up as a kid, like a lot of people that I do know. So there was one thing that I did though, and then, it's been a continuous journey, but this one big thing that I did really shifted everything for me. And I want to share that with you most definitely. And that's the Unexpected Income Club. So I'll talk about that shortly. But let's talk about why we have these money blockages, right? So everybody says that they want more money. But even when we even have conversations about money, you hear the word money. What comes up for you? What do you automatically think of? What key words and phrases come up? What does your body do? Does it get fearful and close down, or does it say, ooh, money, fun, I love making money, this is great, money gives me freedom? How do you respond to that? Do you run for the hills? Do you hide? So I'm going to ask you some provocative questions, and I'd love for you to just think about and really trust the first things that come to you. Those are your initial responses. That's your program, so that we can begin clearing these blockages so that you can manifest whatever it is that you're wanting. And in this case, prosperity, abundance in the form of cash, right? So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. The first one is, okay, going back to childhood. What were you taught as a kid? So what kind of belief systems were you raised in? So a little backstory for me, I was raised in a very Irish Catholic family, and I went to Catholic school in junior high, and I was really taught to appreciate what I had, not want more, be great. Well, actually, it's be grateful for what you have, because the kids in China don't have that. All of that fear and lack and limitation. I was so afraid to ask for anything because I thought that meant that I was greedy or selfish. And so you can imagine when a child is raised in that kind of an environment where money is restricted and there's not a lot of it, and money doesn't grow on trees. Well, it creates a vibe in that child, me, to really fear money and to think that there's not enough, or that only certain people have a lot of money and only certain families have a lot of money. And maybe it's not even spiritually sound to have money, like only greedy people have money. And so the stories that we were taught as children really took root in us. And so as adults, we've had to unravel all of this. And so some of us are still unraveling. And so let me ask you a few more questions. How do you think people will perceive you if you have money? A lot of people are afraid of being successful or prosperous or wealthy because they think that they will be judged. So how does that resonate with you? Is that part of your truth? Is that part of your belief system? And then also, a lot of people have these ideas that money is hard to come by. I have to earn it, and I have to work really hard and long hours. And making money takes a lot of time. So we put a bunch of restrictions on the flow of prosperity and money right there, with time, effort, all of these other things. And if we sit in those thoughts and those beliefs, we can ask ourselves, are those thoughts and beliefs really true? Is that really true? Do I really have to work hard for money to come? No. I've had experiences where money just kind of came surprisingly, unexpectedly, right? And that whole relationship with time and money, that's a whole nother topic. But these are some of the restrictions that we have on ourselves that block us from financial prosperity, right? So I would be really curious to know what kind of rules that you have put on yourself about receiving money. Are you good at receiving money? Are you one of those people who say, no, 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 no? Or are you saying, yeah, sure, great, thanks, that's awesome? These are things that put us either in the flow with money and the receiving of it, or block us from it. So it's really worth looking into. It's really worth looking at your relationship with money. It's nothing to be afraid of or ashamed by. And then to define what money is to you. I think that's a big, important step. So if I gave you homework, what I would have you do is write down your money beliefs, your childhood money beliefs. Are these things still true? And then simply define, what is money? What does that mean in your life? So for me, for example, money means freedom. Money means that I can do things and go places and spoil my kids, whatever comes up for me, that I know that I'm not going to be in shortage or lack. I like the freedom of not being in lack. And to be able to pay my bills and to live well and to just have that kind of freedom. that money brings. And so money's going to be a little bit different for every person. And I also see it as an exchange, an energy exchange. It's just paper, right? But there's a lot of meaning that we put to that piece of paper. And for me, it's an energetic exchange. And I see that play out in business. And it's so funny that I was wired to be an entrepreneur my whole life. But I was like the last one to really get the memo about that. I was always doing it, but I didn't have that word, entrepreneur. And the jobs that I got, I realized that, wow, I don't like jobs, and I don't like the exchange of dollars for hours. That never made sense to me. It felt too squishy and way too limiting, right? So I thought, well, how do I open that up? But my drive was always to be of service, always to be of service and to help. And I know that, you know, I just have a different perspective that money equals the energy of service. So it's like the law of reciprocity, what goes around comes around, right? And so there's just a lot to unpack in your personal story and how you see money, how you define money. One of my favorite quotes from Will Smith, well, I'll paraphrase him, but he says that money only exaggerates or reveals, who a person is. You'll have to look that up and give us the right quote. But I think that that's absolutely true. So if you are, before you have money, you're afraid and fearful and stingy about money, then imagine when you do have money and you haven't cleaned up your vibe yet, you're going to be fearful and stingy, and it's going to be worse, right? So if you're a generous person and you're a loving, giving person, then when you have money, then you'll be able to share it and spread it around. Cool, right? So it just magnifies and really just, magnifies who we are at our core. So let us talk about my breakthrough. So this is fun stuff. So as a spiritual teacher too, I have to back up a little bit. I remember, the struggle of being a spiritual teacher and an empath and helping people with their issues. And I heard people even say, you shouldn't be charging for your services. You should be doing this for free. And I thought, well, how's that going to work? How do my bills get paid and all of that other stuff? So I really did a lot of work around value, service, money, really healing my money issues and being confident about charging for my spiritual services. I am not a nonprofit, I am a business. And so money is a part of business. And if you're not making money, then you're not in business. And I am in business. And so I see my exchange and the money that comes kind of like a validation that you're on the right track. You're doing good work. People are paying for it. Yay, keep doing that and continue and so on and so on. And that's the same with all businesses, right? So I want to share the one big breakthrough that happened, gosh, I lived in Denver. It was probably around 2004 or 5. I think I have a question here. Oh yeah, Alec, hi. Yes, you were taught the same messages. Weren't those crappy messages? And I know that, oh, I have to share this with you. This is so cool. I know that the next generation who, suffered from the previous one with all that lack and limitation, now that we're having children and well, my kids are grown up, but I have proof that my kids are listening and that my teachings, even though I don't coach my children, I'm just their mom, but my teaching or my vibration, how it changed, rolled off onto them. So Proof. My son, his name is Wyatt. Greatest story ever. So just recently I moved and I asked one of his friends to help move. So it was Wyatt and Sam has the truck. And so they moved me. They were done in about 2 hours. And then I go to give Sam some cash. And Sam goes, no, 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 no. And before I could even say anything, my son goes, dude, take the money. Don't rob my mom the opportunity to give something. You deserve this and you can pay it forward later. So it was like, what? My kid, my son, was my mouthpiece in that moment. So it's like he has been listening. He really knows this stuff, and he didn't have to suffer through a lot of the stuff that we had to suffer through, because we changed the vibration, and now money comes more frequently and easily for a lot of us. And so then right after that, though, I had my son help me move another object about 3 weeks later, and it was just him. And so I handed him a 20, and then he just grabs it. He goes, cool, thanks. I'm like, yes, he really gets this stuff, right? And then there was one more thing that he did that I wanted to share. Oh yeah, because he's such a generous soul, and he's so receptive and so open, and he learned from me to accept, to keep that law of reciprocity going, and I'll talk about that law in a little bit more in depth. He went to a birthday party just like last weekend with his coworkers, and one of his coworkers said, hey, I'm merging assets with my girlfriend and we have an extra car that we really don't need. We'd like to gift it to you. Would you like that? And my son said, absolutely, cool, bring it, thank you. And so as a result of his receptivity and his generosity, he's just gifted all the time with unexpected income and unexpected gifts, right? So it's really interesting to watch this dynamic and to be in that different kind of mindset so that we can manifest prosperity and abundance and pay it forward and play in this joyous kind of interaction, instead of being afraid of money and letting money rule everything, right? Yes. Thank you. It is amazing. I love my son, and I love how open he is. And he has like broken that whole family ancestral kind of money garbage, that's just been passed down the generations, right? So his kids are going to be able to manifest like that, like nothing I can imagine. So, okay, let me tell you now about back in Denver, 2004, 2005. I am a freelancer, and I was living in that whole feast or famine cycle of life. And so I freelanced, I created websites and publishing books and things like that. And so I'd have great projects, and then, I would have no projects, right? So I was kind of up and down there. And at that time, this was like the beginning of my big spiritual pivot, my big spiritual awakening that was happening right around this time. And I started to attend a church called the the Center for Spiritual Living. So that they have many centers for spiritual livings all over the place, kind of like a unity church. And they teach a lot about the law of attraction, manifesting, the laws of the universe. I fell in love with this church, and I took a class. I was actually in crisis at the time financially, like I couldn't pay my rent. And I called the minister, who we became good friends. And I said, gee, I don't understand why my finances are so up and down all the time, and what's going on. And she said, well, I invite you to look and see how this serves you. And I've shared this story a couple times before. It's like, really? That really pissed me off. It's like, how does this serve me? It doesn't serve me at all. And then after deeper contemplation, I realized, oh yeah, it does serve me, because all of the all of the struggles and strife that I had growing up as a child and being a young mom and all that stuff. and being on welfare, blah, blah. I was the queen of struggle and the queen of conquering the struggle and the queen of survival and overcoming. And I would always manifest miracles at the last minute. And I started to realize that it's like, oh, I have a pattern going here. So what if I could manifest sustainably all the time instead of just when shit hits the fan, right? So I really stepped into that. And at the same time, she invited me to take this class and to participate in what they call the Unexpected Income Club. Interesting. And they charge for it, right? Because they're a business. And I thought, well, I can't afford that. I'm broke. I can't afford to take a class. And then she says, well, you can't afford not to. And I thought, oh, okay. And I love this woman and I trust this woman and I think she's so wise. So I go ahead and I pay for the class and I take it. And the Unexpected Income Club, it was a really interesting journey. It was the greatest trip probably of my life. It turned everything upside down and changed my perspective completely about money and finances. One, I recognized my pattern and I could change that, right? And well, let me tell you what the club is first, and the whole reason behind it. I love this one quote from Ernest Holmes. He's the founder of the Center for Spiritual Living. Expectancy speeds progress. Let me say that again. Expectancy speeds progress. And the thing that comes to mind when I hear that quote are people who migrate to America from different countries with very little, and how they turn their lives around and become these really big successes. Those success stories, you know which ones I'm talking about. There's so many and too many to name. My ex was actually an immigrant from Israel, and he made millions the first 2 years that he was here. It always made me curious. It's like, why do foreigners come here and make money so easily and so much of it when the rest of us are kind of like struggling, right? Or just getting by. And then I realized, oh, it's because they expect it. The expectancy speeds progress. They perceive, and I can't speak for everybody, but as a general, I would imagine that they perceive America as like the big opportunity, the golden ticket. Let's go make some money. And it's like, okay, then they come here and they do pretty simple stuff, really. So when we do have those expectations of prosperity and abundance, we get it. If we have expectations of rude people and bigotry and negativity, we'll get that. So whatever we are putting our focus on, whatever our expectations are, we are going to draw that to us like a magnet, right? So this was the first manifesting 101 thing that I've ever experienced in my life in participating in this club. And I'll tell you how it worked. So the first thing that we did, we actually met for like 6 weeks. We would meet once a week in person to share our experiences and to maybe reset if we get messy again, right? And then we would record the unexpected income, and then we had a way to pay it forward. We had a commitment, actually. We committed that whatever unexpected income we did receive, we would take 10% of it and give it back to the church. That's how they have a tithing program doing that. And I thought, that's brilliant. That's really smart. And because it was contingent on the unexpected income, then there was really no risk, right? So I thought, okay, I can do that. At first, I was a little cynical about it, honestly. But then by the end of this, with all of the progress and changes that I've made in my own self, I was happy to give that money away. I was happy to pay it forward and to, vote with my dollars to my church, to my spiritual center, because they had changed my entire life. It was like, okay, you guys earned that one, you deserve that, and it just completely changed. So what we did was, for 6 weeks, every day we would go into a meditative thought, or you can call that prayer, right? I call it meditative thought. So we would set the intention for more prosperity to flow joyously into our lives in the form of income that we're not already expecting. Okay, and so there was, okay, I see a question there, Alex. I'm going to get to you in just a sec. I want to read this meditative thought that we would say every morning during our daily spiritual practice. Okay, and so this is from the website. It's from one of the spiritual centers. So all the spiritual centers teach this. So if you wanted to take it, you could, and a lot of them even have online ones now. So the daily intention is, I recognize and acknowledge the abundant nature of the universe. It is the limitless creative source of good, externally sharing its energy and eternally sharing its energy and substance always with us. I'm aware of my divine nature, part of this one creation, and that I am completely connected with the infinite supply of good. Absolutely. I open myself to the full support of this goodness. I know that I am joyously receiving abundant income from unexpected sources to use and share for the fulfillment of all my desires. And so is every member of the Unexpected Income Club. With gratitude, this is the closing, always with gratitude for the divine flow of prosperity into my life, I release the prayer or the meditative thought to the law, knowing that the creative law responds with a resounding yes, hell yes. Not to be sacrilegious, but it's good stuff, right? So every day we'd set the intention in our meditation with that, and then just go about your business, go through your day. And what I would do is, I'm a big believer in, if you listen to the podcast last week, one of the steps is to receive, right? So the first step is to ask, which we just did. We set the intention, and then to receive. And so how I like to do that, I like to do it softly, but I also like to do it in an expecting kind of way. So let me show you what I mean. So I still carry a day timer, literary girl, always will. And in my day timer, I chunk my life into weeks, right? Nice and easy. I can do a week at a time, so I'm not overwhelmed. And with every week, I highlight my goals, my top goals on the top, and then I put a green bucket to receive money for each day. And then at the end of the week, I add it up and I just take note. So I have a soft observation for the income that comes into my life, and for business as well, but it includes all of it. It includes unexpected income, it includes business income. Well, all business income is kind of unexpected income, really. And so that's my container for it. Remember last week I said you have to have room to receive whatever it is you're asking. And so that's how I create the space for it. It's like, okay. And then every couple of days I'll check my account and I'll write down the income, because most things go through just that one channel and it's easy for me to track. And so then I have this visual for the whole year of, wow, look at all that income that just continues to come in, right? So that's how I do it, and I would invite you to do the same, and not to get into that place of where is it, but just expecting it, knowing it's on its way, and then you can record it there. Okay, then the last part of the Unexpected Income Club is to pay it forward, like I said, right? So this has everything to do with the law of reciprocity. So when we receive, we then we vote with our dollars, and then we give, and we continue the process. So before I get into the law of reciprocity, I want to see what this question is, and it's so bright in here I can't see. Okay, so good question. Thank you. How do you differentiate expectation and entitlement? I struggle on the tightrope between the two. Okay, that's a really good question. Difference between expectation and entitlement. Well, there is a fine line there. Expectation without attachment, I would say, is a more spiritually healthy place to come from. So entitlement to me has an energy that you owe me. You owe me. The government owes me. Society owes me. My dad owes me. And honestly, I don't feel like anybody owes us anything. But just by virtue of the nature of our being, we are trust fund babies of the universe. So if we think of, say, the birds out there in the trees, they're not feeling entitled that the universe needs to feed them and where's my check and all that. But they also don't have a lack or limitation about their resources. They know that when they get up, they're going to go get their worms and they're going to feed their kids and they're going to have shelter and they're going to have food and they're going to have an abundance of whatever it is they need. They just know. So there's this knowing that happens that goes along with the expectation. Like, I really do expect that all of my needs will be met. I expect that because guess what? I have proof that they always have been. So why wouldn't I expect that moving forward, right? And so as that expectation that all of my needs are met and then some, well, they are. And what we focus on is what we're growing, right? So yeah, entitlement has a kind of a messy vibe for me. I don't believe that anybody's entitled to anything. I think that we are naturally blessed with everything here. And so I guess it's just a matter of graciousness, in how you receive, how do you receive? Do you feel that you are owed, or do you feel that you are gifted and blessed? So I see everything as we're just gifted and blessed. It's like we have everything we need. It's all built in. We have everything we need in our bodies to heal itself. We have this beautiful mind that we can manifest with. We have these hearts that we can love and have so much compassion. So I don't know. I think this ride is a really great one. And I don't believe that we are owed anything. And I think that really frees us from attachment, and I see this played out all the time. Gosh. Okay. So here's one of my things. Yes, I'm a spiritual teacher who loves watching Bravo. All right. Don't judge. So when I'm watching like the Housewives on Bravo, I see this all the time, that she owes me an apology kind of thing. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. Nobody owes you anything. And that whole entitlement just creates so much resistance. It's like, nobody owes you anything. So it would behoove them to get out of that whole mentality so that they could just get on with their day. And maybe if you feel that you're owed an apology, well, you go apologize first and then you'll get one. Law of reciprocity, leading right to the next thing that I wanted to talk about. So as you guys know, I love the laws of the universe, the law of attraction being one of the big major ones that most of us are familiar with. But there's also the law of reciprocity. And this one goes by many names or terms. There's karma. What goes around comes around. You guys know this one, what you put out there comes back. It's the law of reciprocity. And just like gravity and just like the law of attraction, it is working 100% of the time, 24/7. You cannot avoid it. So when, just like the housewives, just like with the entitlement, when a client of mine comes in for some coaching and says, I don't have enough fill in the blanks, I don't have enough love, I don't have a good relationship, I don't have enough money, the first thing I say is, and it sounds completely counterintuitive, but whatever it is that you feel that you don't have, you need to go give it. You need to go give that away. Just like how my spiritual mentor told me that I could not afford not to take that class. She was right. I could not afford not to, right? And so the law of reciprocity says, and even a verse in the Bible that just popped in my head, God helps those who help themselves. We have to start the party, guys. We have to start. We have to take the first step. So if we want to create money or manifest something or a relationship or anything, we have to go first. We have to take the first step. So we have to give away what it is that we feel that we're lacking to prime the pump and get this stuff going, get this stuff moving, right? And so then when it starts to go, then it's important for us to recognize the flow and to not block the flow, right? To keep the flow going. Example, when somebody wants to gift you with something, you just gave somebody something, you just gave a family your kids clothes that don't fit anymore, you just gifted that was unexpected gifts. And so then somebody wants to buy you lunch and you're like, no, you just jacked up the flow. So you got to just keep the flow going, and the flow is easy to keep going. You just say, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Oh, cool. Yes, thank you. Yes. Here, you want some of this? Here, take some of that. And it's just a matter of giving and receiving, giving and receiving, giving and receiving, and not you owe me. That blocks the flow big time, right? And so just notice how that feels. Being in the flow and in the flow of reciprocity is easy, light, and fun. Easy, light, and fun. Like when I observed my son taking that $20 right out of my hand, it was like, man, that was so easy for him. I did a good job. Good job, Mom. Woo. Seriously. Because if that were me back in the day, I would have probably struggled with that for hours. And he had zero resistance. Zero. That's the goal. All right. So I'm going to check the comments again. Yes. Alec and Rochelle, back on entitlement. Where is it? Where is it? Yes, that's that, trying to figure out the hows and the wheres and the whos. And the expectation is openness to accepting it and how and when it comes with gratitude. Perfect. Thank you for that clarity. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you can feel that clarity in your body more than anything else, right? It just resonates right when you know that you have an open expectation. And I have an open expectation of beauty, kindness, love, all that. And when we have that open expectation for that, we're kind of paving the way. We're rolling out the red carpet for ourselves, basically. And because just like what this class taught me is that whatever we are focused on, we grow that. And it was such an amazing opportunity to really see that happen in my life. Unexpected money started coming in. People would treat me to lunches, coffees, dinners, things you would find on sale, discounts, all kinds. I started to realize all the different ways that prosperity showed up in my life. And maybe these things were showing up before, but I wasn't paying attention, and maybe I was entitled, right? And so now I just had this different kind of soft noticing of all of this abundance and prosperity happening all the time. And guess what? The miracle kept going. It wasn't just about the money. When I started to be in the flow of expecting prosperity, abundance, it opened up to kindness, to love, to all of the other things, and so I just started to recognize and realize how gifted and how blessed we human beings are, right? And how amazing and kind and benevolent the universe is, and how it seriously has our backs. And wow, all of this goodness comes. And just like that Ferris Bueller, if you don't slow down, you're gonna miss something. We have to slow down so that we can notice all of the blessings that we're surrounded by, and the beauty that we're swimming in, and the kindness that pervades everything, and be in that place so that we can not only serve ourselves and our families, but it spills out on our communities and our children and all of that stuff. And it's so fun to see come back later, like with my son. It was like, it works. This stuff works, And so anyway, this one thing, I would urge you to go online and take a class. And if you're interested in doing an unexpected income club with me, let me know, because I've been toying around with it. I thought, yeah, I can probably do that. But if I have enough people who are interested in participating, I think that could be a fun thing to do. But they already do exist. So if you are, want to find one through the Center for Spiritual Living, this has been happening for many, many years. And it's a fun opportunity and a different way to change your perspective on prosperity, abundance, with the focus on financial income, which is something that we can all relate to. And I think once we can see that happen in a very tangible way, then we can see it happening in every way. So it's like magic, magic, magic everywhere you look. All right, guys. So yes. All right. Okay. So you know what? We'll keep the conversation going about the Unexpected Income Club. I can probably just start a Facebook group and do the 6 weeks. I'll think about this and get back to y'all about it. If you are not on my email list, get on my email list, sign up on my website, charlenemurphy.com, so you can be notified when I do start that. I think it would be a really fun experiment, though. It's really fun to see all the different ways that prosperity starts to come in, and when you're in that 6 weeks mode of waiting for it, expecting it, kind of like getting excited like a little kid at Christmas, it magnifies and grows and expands and expands and expands. And then you have this tipping point, and then that whole way of being just kind of becomes your life. So it's a really miraculous shift, I have to say. So let's do it then. Let's do it. It's on. So sign up on my email list, get on there so you'll be notified. And also, if you want some private coaching when it comes to this, let me know, because that's what I do. And I even have a program called Manifest Now. And all of my programs are 6 weeks. I love 6 weeks. It's just stuck in my craw. But you can get so much done, so many shifts happening in 6 short weeks. All right, guys, that was a lot of info. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope that you really take the time to look at your relationship with money, prosperity, income, and opening up to the whole knowing that source or universe or God, whatever term you call this, divine intelligence, whatever you call that, that's your source of income. That's your main source of income. We have to stop being so myopic in our viewpoints and seeing job as our source of income, husband as source of income, whatever. They might be little streams of income, but they're not the source. When we go back to the source, that's when the bigger magic happens. All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being here. This was so much fun. Keep asking those questions. Keep the conversation rolling. I will answer everybody. And until I see you guys next week, take great care of yourselves and each other. All right. Peace out, everybody.